So Rick Renner landed himself in some hot water from things that he said on Daystar TV in his interview with Joni Lamb and Table Talk about a lot of things going on in the church right now. For many of you who don't know, there have been some very high-profile scandals, and one that's going on at Daystar Television now. Of course, they're denying the claims. Well, Rick Renner has a conflict of interest here because he has a show on Daystar TV, but he's beginning to weigh up on this, and many people don't agree with his take on the matter. I'll let you be the judge, and then we'll break it down afterwards to see if Rick Renner is right. But he throws around the accuser of the brethren term, and we will talk more about this in a minute. Let's roll the film.
You brought up social media. May I say a word about social media?
Oh, sure.
Social media is an instrument that we should use in the correct way.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
You know, in the book of Revelation, it calls the devil the accuser of the brethren.
Yes. Yeah.
The word accuser in Greek is a very strange word. It means to accuse in the public marketplace.
Okay.
Well, social media is the public marketplace.
Yeah.
And the devil has fallen into social media. Hell found a microphone.
Yes.
And what's happening in social media is horrific.
Yeah.
Everybody's being accused.
Mm-hmm. So true.
And you know, one of the signs of the last days, since we're talking about the last days, both Peter and Jude said in the last days, people will rail anyone who is an authority figure.
Wow.
And we're living in a day, whether you're a TV personality or a pastor or a parent,
Right. Yeah, right.
you are the subject of somebody railing you for something.
And you really have to, I think, pray and use discernment in these last days.
You do.
Because when you talk about lovers of money, you've got people who have these platforms, and they may only have, 500 followers, but they'll get on and judge or talk about some salacious story that many times isn't even true, but they get clicks and likes.
And every time they do, it's monetized.
And they get money, and they're doing it for that reason. And that's really dangerous in the eyes of God, isn't it?
It is very dangerous, and it's destructive to the church.
Yes. And
but that's the spirit of the age we're living in. That's what we're dealing with.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's why we need to rally together and be a united front in the body of Christ.
And that's part of, you talk about in here, boasters and proud, blasphemers,
Absolutely.
disobedient, unthankful, unholy.
That's right, Joni.
Those are all the things we're seeing happen right now.
And you see that in society, but there are times, which is very sad to say, you see this in the church as well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we're going to break down this clip today. Make no mistake of it, most likely this was a rehearsed situation that Rick and Joni went over beforehand to address this topic. This is a way to censor people and quiet people. He was bringing up some quotes and Bible verses on the last days, and these things are true. I talk a lot about the end times, the last days, the Antichrist, the mark of the beast, etc. on this channel. It's something that we need to talk about because there is a great falling away that is happening, an apostasy, an apostasia in Greek, and we are seeing this happen right before our eyes. But I think if you just take this at common sense level, the apostasy that we're going to see is going to be outside the church as well as inside the church. So I don't understand why Rick doesn't understand that there's going to be this great falling away on the inside of the church. And I think he is pointing the finger at people that are speaking out on social media that need to be heard about legitimate issues. Now, we don't want to get into gossip and slander and those things. Christians shouldn't be engaged in that. But when we see the essay of minors, like many of these high-profile church situations, we've got to speak up. We've got to hope that there's truth. We saw it with the Catholic Church, how it's bringing the Catholic Church to its knees, the Southern Baptist Convention, how there's a lot of essay in the church that needs to be dealt with. And it seems that, maybe I'm misunderstanding Rick, he's putting all of these people that are speaking out in accusers of the brethren type label. So we're going to get into this today. I want to first say that I'm a social media influencer with over 200,000 subscribers across various platforms, and I lose money every month on this channel. Every once in a while, there'll be a month where I make a little money or break even, but it's not a lot, okay? I can assure you that. So this idea that people are making money off social media, if it was that easy, anybody would do it. It's very hard to make money on social media. You need millions and millions of views per month in order to do that. Okay, a channel like mine gets millions of views within the year. But we're going to just go through one of my friend, Brother John Elving from Canada. He is a street pastor who does some great street ministry in Canada, and I suggest that you subscribe to his channel. Not only is he my friend, but he's a great person, and he speaks up in this advocacy space. He has a wonderful channel. He does good Bible teaching and does good work in the local church. But he made some comments on this that is going to straighten out Rick Renner's comments, because his Bible teaching on this matter, you know, I've been to seminary myself as well and have a degree in counseling. His Bible teaching on this matter is just terrible. And the truth is, and I don't want to sound critical, but in the Word of Faith, prosperity gospel, hyper-prophetic communities, the Bible teaching is terrible. It's on the lowest form of the pole within the Christian world. It's on the lowest. It's terrible. And it's one thing to be listening to this type of Bible teaching when you're a new believer and you don't know any better. But people that have been in the Lord for a while shouldn't be, they just misinterpret passages, they misapply passages. In this case, Rick is supposed to be a Greek scholar, and he just botched this verse. So we're going to go and take a look at Brother John Elving's post, which I think he nailed it on this subject. So Brother John says here, 500 followers, because that's the reference they made in the video. Keep going. Your voice matters. Keep fighting back. What Rick Renner and Joni Lamb just said on Daystar's Table Talk is a manipulative, self-serving distortion of Scripture. I totally agree with this. Let's be very clear. This wasn't biblical teaching. This was damage control from false shepherds who feel the wall closing in on them. Wow. Isn't that amazing? Rick Renner twists Revelation to suggest that calling out false teachers online is satanic. He says social media is where the accuser of the brethren now lives. But the Greek word for accuser refers to false accusations, not biblical correction. So a lot of the people that are speaking up on social media right now are trying to speak up because they see moral issues that need to be addressed. We're not making false accusations, etc. In the case of Daystar, I don't know exactly what happened over there, okay? We have a possible SA assault of two different people, but the truth is many people don't feel it's been investigated or given the proper attention to. So that's why people are upset. I am not claiming to know exactly what happened, but I think that this is being glossed over. It's not being addressed properly, and that's alarming to me. So I'm speaking up saying this isn't right. I'm not accusing the brethren. I'm not making false accusations, because only God really knows what happened in this situation. But false accusation is not the same thing as biblical correction or bringing up legitimate concerns. Let's get back to my friend's post. So he says this: have no fellowship with unfaithful works of darkness, but rather expose them, as it says in Ephesians. So there is a clear biblical command in the New Testament to expose sin. Exposing evil, John says, is not accusation, it's obedience. Daystar has built a religious empire through fundraising and flashy media, and has the audacity to say that people with 500 followers are doing it for the money because they get likes and clicks. The irony is totally outrageous. So reports came out recently that Joni Lamb owns 7 homes and has a portfolio that's worth almost $12 million. So who's really making the money here? Okay? So I have what I would consider a massive following on social media, and I'm not making money most months. Okay, I'm losing money. I'm funding it myself. So he goes on to say, Brother John, for the love of money is the root of all evil, 1 Timothy. You want to talk about the love of money? Let's talk about it. Selling false prophecies like merchandise. And that's what Daystar television is known for, a lot of hyper-prophetic stuff. Now, I believe in the prophetic, but I don't believe that people are getting daily prophetic words from the Lord and angels are visiting them all the time. So he goes on to say, using televangelism to milk the vulnerable, building platforms on emotion, fear, and political identity. But now the same leaders are being called out and they're panicking. They even twist 2 Timothy 3 to suggest that whistleblowers are a part of the last days rebellion. But even read it for yourself. Joseph Z., a popular prophetic voice out there, said recently that those that are speaking out on these issues are going to turn their back on Israel. It's totally crazy. I love Israel. I've been there. It's a big part of my heart. I support Israel 100%, and that will never change in my lifetime. So they're kind of pushing back with this narrative, and a lot of this stuff isn't true. It's not part of the last days rebellion, people speaking up. And I would say that a large majority of that last days rebellion is going to be, there's going to be some inside the church, but a majority of it is going to come on the outside of the church. So I didn't even think Rick got even close to applying to this passage correctly. So it says this, 2 Timothy 3:2, people will be lovers of money and themselves, boastful and proud. Sounds more like Christian celebrities than people sounding the alarm. Absolutely. So Brother John says this isn't unity. This is spiritual gaslighting. This isn't persecution. It's accountability. This isn't discernment. It's desperation. Woe to the shepherds who destroy and scatter the sheep of my pasture, Jeremiah 23, verse 1. And to those who with 500 followers keep speaking, stay in the word and don't back down. The real church is waking up and God is exposing what man has tried to hide. So I just thought Brother John just nailed it on that. I suggest that you go and subscribe to his channel on YouTube and follow him on Twitter, Brother John Elving. Okay, from Canada. He's just a wonderful guy, but just nails the head right on the head. I don't believe Rick applied this passage correctly on any level, and he's off. And I'm really, really disappointed because I really respected Rick for many years because of his work in Russia. Now, I don't agree with all of his theology and his biblical teaching, but I appreciate his commitment to spreading the gospel. And at the time, years ago, was a very hostile territory in order to do so. So I had a lot of respect for him, but we're seeing one of these Bible teachers, a lot of these famous Bible teachers, they're going to fall on the side of the powerful and the people like Daystar and other people because it's good for them. And so this is really disappointing that Rick would turn and support people that could be covering up some really serious things. And of course, he's never addressing that or talking about that. None of these people are. So I'm really disappointed in Rick. And I hope that over the next couple of weeks that God will begin to change his heart and maybe speak to him. But this is disappointing. People speaking up with legitimate concerns are not accusers of the brethren. So let me be very clear before I close the video. Nobody in the Christian world, myself or any social media influence, should go online and spread any fake information about anyone else. Okay? Gossip is spreading information that has not been confirmed as true. So unless you know something is a fact or pretty close, or there's a lot of evidence for it, then you don't want to spread that information. You don't want to slander people and try to malign their character and talk about their intentions. Only God knows the heart. Only God knows what's really going on in these people's hearts. And thirdly, you don't want to be disrespectful and attack people, any people. You don't want to do any stalking, anything like that, okay? We are called to even love our enemies as Christians and to speak the truth in love. Paul says this, to have all of your words seasoned with grace. So even when we have to speak the truth, even when we have to speak hard realities, we need to make sure that our emotions are in place. We need to make sure that we've looked at our own sin and examined our lives. And when we find we're in a good place and we're side, we can begin to confront things in a very compassionate manner. Jesus had tremendous compassion for the people. And so when we reach out to people, we do that in light of our own brokenness, but we speak to these situations. We do it respectfully. We don't yell and scream. We don't name call. We don't dirty fight. We stick to the issues and speak forward respectfully. Nobody should be being disrespectful, yelling and screaming, fighting on social media, but we can begin to have discussions about legitimate issues and do that correctly. So I hope I made that clear today. Give your comments down below on what you think about Rick Renner's conversation or any ideas that you have about the biblical passage, about Daystar. I'd love to hear what you say. Thank you for watching today. Be blessed.